Hi there, welcome back to the Kenny Veach M-Cave Mystery. Today I wanted to present to you never seen before responses, text conversations, receipts and emails ranging from the search and rescue commander to a person that works at CNN. And this is from the point of view perspective of Susan Veach, the sister-in-law to Kenny Veach. Over the course of time in the background, Susan Veach has been in contact with a range of different people out there, from police when trying to get the case going with Kenny Veach to, set the investigation on when it comes to the CCTV footage, all kinds of stuff, trying to push this and that to get some movement going. Besides police to search and rescue, asking questions there, confirmation of this and that. If you do remember, there was a previous time where Susan Veach contacted the search and rescue commander asking about, do you remember a former member or so called Gene Lovkovsky, a fellow individual on YouTube that claimed to be a part of the original search team. If you want context and reference to all of that, I've already done a video in the past with text receipts. But in more recent time, over the last few months or so, Susan Veach has been trying to get in contact with CNN. I'm sure people from the US will be familiar with CNN in terms of trying to get a documentary out in the name of Kenny Veach. So just to chair slightly. Obviously, HLN have done their own documentary on Kenny Veach, but it was poorly done, poorly written. It portrayed Susan Veach as some kind of crazy conspiracist type individual. It did cut out many segments and parts of what she really had to say, but she wasn't told that it was going to be taken out. So there was selective editing. It wasn't done well. Susan Veach wasn't happy, hence the boost in trying to find a different direction, such as CNN, so they could cover it. Now, I guess things are still in the works of stuff happening, but at least today, with the previous emails from Search and Rescue regarding the Kenny Veach case and search, I just want to try and bring it all together to show you material from a different side and perspective, material you probably wouldn't normally see. And when it comes to 90% of people that come across this case out there, outsiders, ones that are not familiar with my channel, most of those people out there who may come in and watch have never and would never see this until now. So that's why I want to present it to you today. I did organise it, try and arrange it in order from the emails and messages to the descriptions by Susan Veach, right? I want to provide it from both sides of the story. Susan Veach explaining it herself and captioning what the photo screenshot is about from a certain conversation, and then presenting to you the actual conversation and going from there. Analyse if necessary, but the main aim of today is to present to you some form of important informational material which you would never ever see any other time until today. So make sure not to go anywhere. For those that are currently here in the live premiere, welcome, appreciate it. As you can tell, the timing of these live premieres will remain like this for the future, how they were originally. If you're wondering why things adjusted previous, just because other things in the background, TV shows, all that, wanted to catch up there, adjusted the scheduling, but now we've gone back to normal. For those in the live premiere, share your thoughts and comments in the live chat box right hand side of the screen. And for those that are watching later on catch up, leave your comments down below in the comment section of this video. Also down below there will be a pinned comment with additional links if you wish to check those out. And if you want to support this channel in an anonymous way so no one else can see what you're doing, the link down below will guide you there. And top right corner of the screen, I symbol, click on that and you'll be redirected to the playlist of Kenny Veach, all the videos you may have never seen before, as well as the previous video that I did, the following day or two. If there is time later on in this video, I'll look back at some comments of the last Kenny Veach video that I did and acknowledge them and answer any questions. So I guess we're up to speed. If you are interested in the last Kenny Veach video that I did from a different perspective and angle, and you've not seen it yet, make sure to catch up on it. As said, link will be top right corner of the screen if you want to. And that's where we'll acknowledge the comments as well later on. So with that all being said, it's now time to get straight on into it. This is the key important material that I'm going to present to you. Credit to Susan Veach for passing it on. Let's get into it. Here we are with the first screenshot. This was a text conversation between Susan Veach and myself. Take in mind, it might chop and change. I've just screenshotted what's relevant to what's being talked about today and what correlates with one another as for a slideshow. So don't be too confused, okay? I'm going to read it out to you. So amongst the conversations with Susan Veach, Susan did say that she has an email from the producer at CNN right after the documentary aired. I assume when it says right after the documentary aired, that's in relation to the HLN documentary that came out, I think, in 2022, early on or so, or 2021, one of the years, if you remember. The CNN producer said the new detectives handling the case thought it could be Kenny Veach in the CCTV footage, but the old detective original, who retired, Detective Holly, believed suicide of Kenny Veach. Sharon Pilgrim had him convinced, so much that there was no urgency to find Kenny. Sharon Pilgrim reported Kenny missing on the 17th, but search and rescue did not find the phone until the 22nd of November 2014. The mine shaft, is only hours from his truck, about 4 hours or so. So Sharon Pilgrim, the girlfriend, must have convinced him Kenny was already dead at this point. No urgency to find him. Okay? So there's a bit of sentences here which could come across as very shocking to you if you followed the story a certain way, if you've listened or been brainwashed by the girlfriend of Kenny Veach, Sharon Pilgrim. But don't worry, with time and patience, there will be explanation videos in the future which highlight / suggest that Kenny's girlfriend reported him missing later than what she claimed. Why did she supposedly lie? Why did she supposedly delay it? Well, try and make more sense of that in a future video. Just bear with me. I'm just presenting to you what's on screen and the material that I've been given. I'm just trying to present it to you in the correct order, okay? So, yes, the CNN producer in contact with Susan Veach, right? So let's just move on to the next one. Here we go. On March 17th, 2022, I text messaged Kyle at CNN trying to get a copy of the police report and a copy of the video. Bonnie slipped up and said Kenny was mad about the HLN documentary of him. One thing you should know about Bonnie is she does not lie. She believes if she does, she will go to heaven, the rapture. So when she doesn't want to lie, she just refuses to answer. There should be context to the next slide, okay? Here we go. So this is the text conversation with Kyle from CNN in relation to this comment here by Susan, okay? So, this text conversation, Thursday, March 17th, 2022. Kyle says, no problem. I'm still not in the office until first thing next week, but there is a public records part of the LVMPD website, and they usually respond within a day or so if it's a request such as police report, mugshot, anything simple like that. What I do want to say is, okay, Of course, what's on screen, such as at the top, like the phone number, I don't advise, okay? I don't advise anyone to start ringing up that number because it could cause unnecessary problems, okay? But I just wanted to present to you these raw screenshots of the text conversations between Susan, Veach, and Kyle from CNN, okay? Because I know some people will say, is this edited or that? This is all natural. If the text on screen appears a bit bigger, as for the text messages, that is a setting on certain apps or desktop. You know, if you've got bad eyesight or, I don't know, you find it hard to see words, you can increase the text size, okay? Just in case you were wondering there. Is this on Facebook? I'm not quite sure which text conversation this came from. Would it be Instagram or Facebook, one or the other? So Kyle says, no problem, I'm still not in the office. Okay, within a day or so. Report mugshot. Right, so I think this was to do with when Susan was trying to get a hold of the police report from Kyle, but he wasn't in at the time to be able to provide it to her. Take in mind the reference to the police report of Kenny Veach. We do have that now. I have that, okay? I'm going to present it to you in a future video. Be on the lookout for it, because that police report itself is official and important to read. Future videos can come where I compare and contrast important points, but there is a process and method to everything. So I do appreciate people's patience there. So let's just move on to the next slide. Susan responds back in green saying, I tried, but it would not let me. I can wait until you get back. I think Bonnie and Vicky have been in touch with Kenny or Sharon. She slipped up and made a comment about talking to Sharon, then just refused to say anything more. Right. Bonnie said, Sharon Pilgrim said Kenny was pissed off about the HLN. And then I responded saying, Kenny saw it. She said, no, Kenny would be. And I said, you talked to Sharon. Silence. Bonnie said, I don't want to talk about Kenny anymore. It's affecting my health. Right, interesting behaviour. The slip of the tongue saying Kenny Veach is pissed at this, how they portrayed him in the documentary. It's disrespectful. Oh. He is annoyed. How can he be? I thought he was dead. That's what the typical response would be. And then what? Bonnie backtracks on herself and changes the subject or ends up going quiet. Seems a little bit suspicious, right? Moving on. Kyle responds saying, that is very strange. Did you ever end up getting a copy or recording? Susan Veach says, no. Clark said it was on Hulu. However you say that word, but I have no way to record. Gotta admit, not happy. It looked like I was delusional and all the proof points to his suicide. So what Susan says here about not being happy, appearing delusional, that's in relation to the HLN documentary, as I said earlier on. And we saw like a glimpse of it or a trailer somewhere previously where Susan was portrayed in a negative way. Right? And things were cut out on what she actually had to say. Kyle responds saying, I don't think delusional at all. You were the one really bringing this video to the forefront. I thought the biggest thing was that police didn't rule out that it could be Kenny. Okay, that was just continuation. I thought the biggest thing was that police don't rule out that it could be Kenny in video remains open-ended and unsolved. So the bit about it being Kenny and it being left open-ended, could be, couldn't be, in the eyes of the police, that's in response to the whole conversation of the CCTV footage break-in at the healing store, right? Susan says, in response, I got the feeling they dismissed it and were leaning more to the suicide theory. Then Kyle says, the retired detective who really was in charge, that Detective Holly, of this, until he left, definitely feels it's suicide. Does it continue on here? However, the current detectives told us right before this show aired, the HLN one, detective who was in charge of this until he left definitely feels suicide. However, current detectives told us right before this show aired that it's still open-ended, so we added that to us. That really was a big deal and validates the theory that it could be Kenny from the CCTV footage. Right, so some of the text conversations might carry on over from screenshot to screenshot, but that's just because they couldn't all fit in on one screen. Okay, take in mind this is vertical as you would when you're on mobile device, so that's how the screenshots come about. Okay, so basically saying that the original detective Holly, before he retired or so, he was appointed onto the Kenny Veach case, was stuck in his ways with his thoughts that yes, Kenny suicide, that's it, that CCTV footage, no. But new detectives since, who have been appointed onto the Kenny Veach case, are a bit more open-ended with the possibilities. Not saying no, not saying yes, kind of just out there for discussion, I guess. Right. And now, what we move on to next, it sounds abrupt, but there's a bit of backstory later. What we're looking at now, are some email responses to Susan, and the person sending messages, Craig McVeigh, the commander of Red Rock Search and Rescue, and then the phone number just below it. I said once again, I advise people not to start calling all these numbers all over the bloody place, or it could cause unnecessary issues. Okay, I'm just presenting this to you from what's been passed on. Okay, you can share your thoughts down below. So Craig McVeigh responds saying, Susan, sorry for the delay. We were out of town for the past 12 days. Looks like our first search for Kenny Veach was on/around the 11th, 22nd, 2014. Right. I think the dates are back to front. When it comes to the UK and the US, it gets a bit dodgy. So it means the 11th month, November, on the 22nd day of 2014, okay? Just for people in the UK and elsewhere that might be confused with the way the dates are arranged, okay? So that was just confirming when the search took place originally. Craig McVeigh, Commander. And then there's a random quote there underneath. Moving on. So Susan says, so Detective Downing, to the police, and Craig McVeigh, the commander of Search and Rescue, both told me they have no plans to search for Kenny. I do have an email from Craig prior to him seeing the CCTV footage, and he stated they were still searching. After seeing the CCTV footage, Metro and Search and Rescue have no plans to search for Kenny, saying because of the budget. J. Chuck spoke to someone at Search and Rescue and he said they stated the same thing, only more damning. Right? Moving on. Susan also says, this message was dated the 11th to 21st, 2021. The HLN documentary aired on the 11th to 28th, 2021. This email states they were still searching for Kenny prior to seeing the CCTV footage. And that's to do with this one here, okay? And we'll get to that in a second. But once again, as for the dates, if you don't understand if it's back to front to some people, it means the message, the email here, was on the 11th month and the 21st day of 2021, and that the HLN official documentary of Kenny Veach aired the 11th month of November on the 28th day of 2021, okay? And around the time, if not on the same day as the 28th of November 2021, that was around the same point where Sharon Pilgrim, the girlfriend of Kenny Veach, finally released the unreleased footage of Kenny Veach's M Cave hike, right? And the thing that was so weird about that from Sharon Pilgrim was 3 years beforehand, she said she was going to release the video onto YouTube sometime in November. 3 years on, into 2021, November time, that's when she decided to release it, coinciding with the documentary coming out. So why the hell did Sharon Pilgrim, the girlfriend, withhold important footage of Kenny Veach for so long? Why withhold it from the general public if she was previously engaging in the comment section years beforehand? It's very weird, right? Weird how the girlfriend says they're going to post it in November time, but it takes them 3 years to then post it, but still on the same month of November. That's a bit creepy, that. Yeah, anyway, let's just move on to the email as mentioned here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll try and zoom in if possible. Email, an actual email. You see the date there, 11th to 21st, 2021. Craig McVeigh, doesn't fully show on screen. Susan, thank you for contacting us. Thank you for the information on the documentary. We knew it was coming soon, but we had not yet gotten a date time. Would you mind sharing the additional information that you have? Several members of our team continue working and researching this, and I'm sure they would be interested. So when they say, could you pass on the additional information and material, guess that includes the CCTV footage at the break-in healing store ran by Debbie Veach, the sister to Kenny Veach, okay? So, people along the way, especially including Susan Veach, strongly feels or knows that it was Kenny in that CCTV footage. And even the search and rescue commander Craig McVeigh in 2021, years after the search that took place in 2014, still interested in the case. That Craig and his team are still researching on the Kenny Veach case and want the additional material being sent over, and I believe that's what Susan did. Okay? I hate it when you tap and it doesn't work. Apologies about that. What's this one? So, what's this? The original post. Hi Craig, we spoke on the phone just before the HLN documentary came out in November 2021. At that time, we had discussed how a member of Search and Rescue referred to Kenny as a unicorn. I am Kenny's sister-in-law. I know you are conducting searches over the years since he disappeared. Can you tell me are there still searches being organised to look for him? I have one more question. So sorry to bother you. At the time of his disappearance, his cell phone and some random change was found near the mine. Can you tell me if his keys were also found at the time? Right, let's just see what was in response then. By Craig. Hi Susan, I do remember you and it is not a bother. Please contact us whenever you need. We have not done any additional searches in that area and at present we don't have anything scheduled. With regards to the key and other belongings of Kenny Veach, we only ever heard about a cell phone and that's all. Las Vegas Metro Police Department would be the best contact for that as they would have inventoried anything that was found. So if people do have questions, you can list them down below and I'm sure they can be answered either by me or more so Susan Veach. Should be able to explain it, such as with Bonnie, situation with her, who she is and what she's about, background and stuff, right? And just share your thoughts and reactions down below. So I just want to share this material with you. It's been passed on to me and it's been acknowledged and, come on, put it out there, let other people know about it. So that's what I do, right? I don't want to gatekeep information when there's stuff to pass on. That's exactly what I do and now's the time to do so. I do understand that this could be treated like the Candice Cooley, Dylan Round situation of, are we meant to believe this? Are we meant to nod our heads? Well, at the end of the day, you don't have to go along with it. You don't have to believe in it if you don't want to. But I'm just presenting this to you from a different point of view, perspective, from a Veach-related family member, which should be acknowledged in a sense, right? What else is there to say? I guess all I would say is for those that have watched up to now, you're a bit skeptical, or I don't know, you feel something is off for whatever reason, okay, fair enough. You know, like the point of this video, it's not like you must listen, you must nod your head, you must understand. It's just at least feel free to listen along and then see if it aligns with your thoughts and points, okay? But, you know, I'd say this is quite important because these are emails, text messages from search and rescue to CNN in relation to the documentary situation. The changes of detectives through time, how some old ones could have been a certain way, hence not as much was done or as much success. But now with new ones being appointed with time, maybe there's a bit more care, a bit more consideration into the case. Maybe. I think what we can do now, just to round things off, is just look at the comment section from the last video I did and answer any questions. So I'm just going to adjust it to the newest. Looks like it might already be. Start from the bottom, work our way up. We've got Cleo there. Badger Life, looking forward to it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video too. We've got a user here called I'm Going to Destroy Your Ass. Okay, that sounds a bit rough. But he says, Kenny Veach is a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. We are doomed. I don't think we're doomed. Some people could suggest with time that we're being played at their own game or whatever, that the likes of Kenny Veach or others are sitting back, laughing, watching it whilst eating popcorn. But at the end of the day, even if you want to regard it as like, what do you call it, a loose goose, headless chicken going round and round, you know, for some people it's entertaining, for others it's just interesting to learn about, like how you might read a book, whether it be fact or fiction or something. And then others in between that mean well, that do genuinely want to solve the case or learn about it, may feel betrayed in the future if it turned out that everyone or people were being tricked by the likes of Kenny and others. But to me, I'm just simply here covering what's, you know, present and what needs to be covered. And, you know, I still feel that there is a mystery in the case, whether it be directly linked with Kenny or something completely different out there in the desert. And that's because of other hikers out there somehow coming across weird experiences. So it can open up unintentional mysteries within a case which could be considered by some as not a mystery, right? There's endless possibilities there. Who's this one? We got Joe saying, did you ever see Kenny's video of him looking at the pictoglyphs? I can't find it anywhere. It shows the pictoglyphs and Kenny Veach is talking about it. The pictoglyphs kind of tell a story. Maybe it was someone else. Can't find it anymore. But yeah, Kenny doesn't seem like a suicidal type of person. And it seems he was happy being out there. Not one video shows a sign of him being depressed or suicidal or talking about hard times. Now, I do also understand you can get many other times where people could be very happy, very smiley, whatever, next day dead, right? Sudden things and changes, whatever. I do acknowledge that too, but I don't know, there's just not enough evidence to say Kenny Veach suicidal or that's the outcome of it, right? Now, Joe, you talk about the pictoglyphs and a video of Kenny talking about it. I personally don't know what you're talking about, okay? It could be a deleted video from his channel, but the only thing I'm going to suggest, Joe, it might be in line with what you're saying, it might not. But there was an instance where Kenny Veach was like commentating, talking, telling a story, right, about items he had in his house. And it's on his channel where he's selling his house. Cowboy sells his house, whatever you call the title of the video, right? And he's in there doing a room tour of each room and what's present and the items he's collected over time, which tell a story itself. And at one point he goes over to a table where there's like a skeleton, but pieced together by domino pieces, dice and stuff. And it's resting on a dead wood, rocks nearby, 2 dice as well. Like a little decorative purpose, symbolising being out in the desert. But the story that he told was very creepy and maybe predicting the future of what would happen. Maybe he was hinting at people what would happen next. But I've already done a video on that in the past. If I do need to re-upload it or do a fresh video to really stress the importance of it, I'll do so. I don't know if that links to what you're getting at, Joe, but we'll definitely check the replies to see what other people say. June says, I keep asking but get no answers. Who deleted all or most of Kenny's videos from his channel? Right. So, June, were you aware in the first place? Did you experience that Kenny had other videos on his channel? Or are you just hearing about that in recent time? Now, me personally, I do remember experiencing that Kenny did have other videos on his channel in the past. Was it before he went missing? No. I'm sure it was in 2015, 2016, start of 2015 or so, where I heard about the case. I went on Kenny's channel and it looked like there was more hike videos of him out there. And then with time, they just completely disappeared. I tried the Wayback Machine. Didn't work, useless, even though people say and hype it up as being good and useful, but it wasn't for me. I personally don't have an answer as to who deleted those videos. Neither do I have an answer definitively as to who deleted Kenny's comments on YouTube, his final traces before going missing. That really is, it just doesn't receive enough attention. And I really don't understand why. Why don't many other people out there know about Kenny's final comment being deleted? You know what I'm saying? It seems like too often many people out there will quote or refer to Kenny's comment online, son of an Area 51 worker, but I don't really see many people commenting on the fact that it's no longer there. It's important, right? It's like someone's trace has been erased over time. What, trying to hide something? Trying to hide the person's past and what they came across? Just literally cover it up completely, just like the cave? I don't know. It's weird. What does Susan say to June? I mentioned this to Detective Downing about videos on his channel disappearing, and he said to send him the URL links and he would subpoena both his Facebook and YouTube accounts. You could send a letter to him asking him, or you could just ignore me. But if you need a URL link of the deleted video, if the video's deleted, how do you get a hold of the URL link then? It's not possible unless there's a way around it, backdoor. When did you speak to this detective about this? About a month ago, Susan says. Just as a heads up, this person called Susan Veach is a sister-in-law to Kenny Veach. This person's Susan Veach on screen with that white profile picture. It might have changed since, I can't remember if it's been updated. It's 1 day ago, so it has been updated from the last profile picture. Okay. This Susan Veach on screen is the same person from those text messages and conversations, what we looked at earlier on in this video, in case you're wondering. The same person that acknowledged and advised me to put this material out there and said it was okay to do so in public view. This person called The Light Bulb says, glad to see you went ahead on the detective, only a matter of time, certainly. Maybe. What else do we have? CY saying, I still think Kenny was taken. Maybe he found the cave and learned too much, so he was taken by government. Yeah. Smooth Vision, I think Kenny Veach faked his death. If they took Kenny for finding the cave, then where is the cave? And what if someone else finds it? If there is really a cave, are they going to be taken as well? This is just my thought. Not saying mine is right and yours is wrong, fair enough. See, yeah, maybe that would be the only other way to measure the, what do you call it, validity, the reliability, that over time, if more and more people go missing searching for a cave, you could suggest, well, maybe because they keep being taken away because they keep getting too close to the truth. But this is the thing, besides Kenny Veach, who else has been out there? Who else has gone missing? At least from the people that have talked about it online and started their own investigations, all of them have returned back safely, and some of them have been out multiple times. Yes, they've experienced strange experiences since, but they've still managed to make it back. I mean, not to sound negative, but to be realistic, there are still dangers out there for the people that do hike in those places. that something could go wrong, but they do everything they can in their powers to prevent bad stuff happening. Anyway, Glenn, shout out to Glenn. We got Gio saying, are you making this video to explain to newer viewers of the channel? Bit of a hybrid. Great job, appreciate that. You know, sometimes it's impossible to, you know, whether it be something on your mind, how you think, how you feel, just like with if you're doing a video and it talks about a lot is being expressed, a lot to unpack. It's impossible to put it all into a few sentences. So I just thought, you know what, with the video that we did first as part of this series, looking at the original articles and stuff where it tells the story of the case and the situation, the dates, times and all that, I thought, well, let's just call it Kenny Veach, person that went missing looking for the cave. I know many other channels use those type of, you know, things. I just thought, well, let's give it a try, right? Because in a way, I want as many people to watch the videos so then they can learn about the case, learn about the information and all the other information that goes unreported and isn't always acknowledged by the majority of people out there who don't know about my channel, right? There can be underground information, underground research, which may never surface the general public. It's like an iceberg effect, and some of which, what we've looked at today, would be normally submerged in deep waters, but it's been brought to the surface, right? But shout out to the guy called Gio, laughs at everything, good individual there. And, you know, hopefully with time, more and more people do come across my channel and just simply learn about the case or the interesting findings, you know, whether people are interested in learning about the facts or maybe just interested in experiencing the dark atmosphere of the case and the creepy findings along the way and inner mysteries. I hope that kind of works out with time, right? I know YouTube might not always acknowledge me properly or get the true reach my videos deserve. I guess it's a bit of a two-way street. It comes down to whether people can be bothered watching in the first place, if it does interest them or not, how the video comes across to them, and then how YouTube sees that performance and whether they determine it should be pushed out there or not. It is a bit of a two-way street. It's not like blame is all on one side. It's just one of those things. I mean, at least from looking at my videos, when I have done like really edited ones and putting a lot of time into making them, they've not always, well, they've never really done well in performance. The other videos where it's more straight to the point or just looking at it in a natural, normal way without trying to glorify or make it all fancy, they've performed better in reach and views. I mean, to me, it sounds weird. It seems like less effort means more success in spreading awareness. It doesn't quite make sense, but then again, this is my reality. So I look back at what works and what doesn't and try and implement that for the future, right? Because the one thing I don't want to do is mess something up where maybe I've been given important material or information and it's good of them to reach out, and then I put it out there or present it, and because of the way it was covered or the style, the title, simply the thumbnail was the main reason to why it failed and why it didn't get the reach and awareness it deserved. I don't want to go down that route, so I've got to be careful when it comes to, I don't know, editing and how things come across. I think when it's a bit more formal, like how it is here, it seems to work better. But yeah, what do we have here? Jeff Clark saying the search and rescue guy is the one who said that Kenny had everything going for him, not Vicky. He just means that at 150 pounds and a survival guy, he thought Kenny was in good shape, that he would make it through until being found. I get that. However, from what we see by his condition at the end of his loop hike, the unreleased footage, he was not in great physical shape. That's true. I mean, he said that he managed to do it the previous time, no issues there, but when we actually saw it on footage the second time round of going out there, it did take a toll on him. Now, factors in between besides lack of water, not training as much, not as prepared. I think Jeff said maybe could have been drinking a few beers days before, so that could have had an impact on his performance. But I did say, how do we know that the search and rescue guy said that Kenny had everything going for him? Was it because of the way it was worded in the article? I know you had those brackets which would highlight what the person said below or above, but because of the breaks, the page breaks and the advertisements in between, it kind of made it hard to read. So that might be why. Susan does say though, no, it was Vicky Veach that did say, along with the comment about eating a lizard. There used to be a video of the interview, but it must be archived at the station. Jeff Clark has said about news articles being deleted over time about the Kenny Veach case, which is weird, and people didn't anticipate that to happen back then. Anyway, Joe says, because early on, when it was basically just me and Sean paying any attention, there used to be a lot more articles and news reports still online. No one thought there was any need to save all that because we didn't know it would go away and be deleted, like the many articles saying they only lowered a camera on a rope into the mine shaft. That's what made me want to search the mine myself. I remember them interviewing the search and rescue guy who said they take into account the person's physical abilities and skills to determine where to look and for how long. I think they assumed Kenny bragging about being a wilderness hiker meant he might still be surviving, but from the looks of that loop hike, he was not used to be. Okay, I mean, part of me still thinks that it was, there's all these bloody names you've got to try and remember. Vicky, the daughter. I still think it might have come from Vicky or some of the comments, just because it sounded very personal when commenting on someone like you really know them. It seemed like with a personal tone. Could be wrong, but I'm sure search and rescue would have been thinking, you know, someone like Kenny, he's a hiker, depending the time scale of how long he's been missing, you know, he's probably got a better chance than maybe some other people, like a young individual that may have gone missing or gone out into the woods, as you've heard in the past. But then again, there's been no stories in the past where someone's been presumed dead and then they've ended up coming out of the woodlands 2 months later, somehow managing to survive and yet being of a young age, and kind of hard to believe, but some odd things can happen with time. But the bit, Jeff Clark, where you say in the early days when it was just you and Sean Horlacker, just remember, Jeff Clark, since 2015, I have been on and off of the Kenny Veach case. Not full on, wasn't doing videos until 2020, but I was already aware of the Kenny Veach case, but I was more a viewer, spectator. But because of my early presence, Jeff Clark, in 2015 onwards, that's how I came across Kenny's channel, and originally where he had more videos on his channel before they disappeared, right? So you've seen it from one perspective, the news articles being deleted, not expecting it to happen. And I've experienced it from Kenny's own channel of things going with time. This is the thing, and there'll be outsiders out there that'll say, where's the proof? Where's the proof? You need it. Oh, how couldn't you do it? You know, at the end of the day, you know, before it's happened, you're just not expecting it to happen, are you? It's only in the future when it does happen, then you realise, oh, damn. And then you become more aware for the future, right? It's not a mistake made. There's no error. No one's to blame but the ones that removed it for whatever reason, right? But that's why when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, that's why I was a bit more careful when documenting stuff, because at any point it could be deleted, it could disappear. So really, the Kenny Veach case set it all off as for being very cautious. And that can apply to people watching this video right now, okay? Anybody watching right now for the future of this case or others, if you do get involved with other cases as well, always be aware that there's a possibility that whatever information you came across online could end up vanishing over time for dodgy reasons. Just be aware, okay? What does Susan say here in response to Jeff? It was Vicky who said that. She also talked about Kenny knowing which plants to eat and how he could eat a snake or lizard if necessary. Smooth Vision says, I think the main reason he wasn't in good shape because he pushes himself too hard without drinking water, which is so dumb. I know he wants to see how far you can go, but you put your body in harm's way. That's true. And this is the thing, if Kenny Veach already attempted the hike beforehand and managed with whatever resources he had, why did he have to make it harder for himself on the second hike out there if he was covering the same exact hike route? Okay, there's no need to push yourself anymore when you're already pushing your body, right? But I guess Kenny, competition mindset, just wanting to just keep pushing and pushing. I think that on that second occasion, you're going out there to look for a cave to prove to yourself that it does exist and the doubters online. And yet Kenny still found the time to push himself harder on that hike, which could have been detrimental to his health, his mindset, his focus, and maybe it impacted his bearings when trying to locate the cave. Maybe if Kenny was better hydrated and better prepared and didn't push himself as much, is there a smaller chance that he might have actually found the cave? I wonder. Moving on. Jeff Clark. Yeah, his explanation about how he uses water made no sense. He was running an experiment that could have caused him to drop dead from dehydration or sunstroke with a full pack of water on his back. Yeah, good way of wording it. Experimentation. Kind of unnecessary. We got Cleo there, appreciate that. Shout out to Cleo for super chat a day ago or so. It's very good of the people, and I think most of the people, including some from the Kenny Veach case, but you know, a couple of the names I remember have come from the Dylan Rounds true crime community who have shown support along the way and still do to this day, which is much appreciated. It's very good. And it's good to see people, you know, follow on to other cases as well and still be interested. So yeah, we got this person called Al. I could not help myself. I watched this video and the whole time kept thinking of Kenny Veach. Why does this seem to fit perfectly creepy? I'm not going to click on that link just because of copyright and I'm doing a video right now, but I guess can have a look at another time. We got a person here called Vegas Girl saying, hey buddy, sorry, but I need to ask you something more like a favour you won't like. Well, that sounds a little bit dodgy. I did say what was the favour, but the person didn't respond back. I think there might be some dark, messy things going on in the true crime community, maybe in the background, but at this moment in time, I'm just, you know, doing Kenny Veach and missing people cases, but there was no response here, so I don't know what's really up. Steve saying, thank you for beginning this stage. You're welcome. Hopefully it helps along the way. Kenny's desire to sell himself along with his house highlights his mental instability. His idea to be included in the bargain is patently absurd. Susan says, yes, I cringe watching it. That is not Kenny's real personality. That is almost a used car salesman persona. Interesting. Edward Mullins, your face looks so emotionless. Lol. It's like watching a dead person. And I just responded saying, just like your channel. Then he said, I made this channel to watch videos, so what? And I was just messing around. I can remove the comment if needed. Sorry. Oh man. And fuck salty pancakes. Okay, that was a bit random that. So this person doesn't like salty pancakes. Completely different case community, but okay. You don't need to delete your comment, Edward. You can keep everything there. It's fine. But as said, with you know, with comments comes responses, and that's just what I do across all boards. Lightbulb guy says, I don't like to bring paranormal things into stuff like this. However, I was thinking, remember how the area he hiked in was surrounded by agave burn pits? My grandmother lived next to a burial ground for Native Americans, and the house was excruciatingly haunted. What if there was a similar burial ground there in the mountains? Also, I think another reason Lemmy disappeared, or you mean Kenny, was because he could have been charged. For example, if you tell someone to, oh, let me kill Mister, the troll account which said to Kenny, don't go back out there because if you do, you won't come back. So this person's highlighting that the reason why they disappeared is because they were charged, arrested, and they're giving an example saying if you tell someone to go kill themselves, and then later they do, you can be charged as part of the cause. Perhaps Lemmy felt that he could have as well. I don't know, it's an interesting way of thinking about it. I mean, there's a lot of people online over time that will tell somebody to go die and this and that. I think some people have said that to me as well. I mean, I've never responded back to them, but realistically, I think if anyone in the future did say, Warlike Raf, go die, go kill yourself, I'll just respond back with, well, probably have a hard time because I've got 3 near-death experiences. I can't be put in the ground that easily. Oh well. And because I tend to break stuff, you know, people wanted to go really dark and said, oh, maybe you should dangle from a tree. I guess my response would be, I feel sorry for that tree because I do weigh a lot. I'm probably going to break the branch. But that aside, lightheartedness aside, the light bulb guy says, don't forget the comment on Scott Natal's channel saying that he had went into the mineshaft back in 2010 and that one of the tunnels inside was now caved in. Kenny Sent stopped there, right? If he truly passed, I believe there's a high chance he's behind that wall of rock. Okay. So Jeff Clark mentioned about tunnels and possibilities down there. As for Scott Natal's channel, with that comment back to 2010, someone out there, I don't remember it. I do remember other comments of people saying that they've gone to the mine shaft. That really Robbins supposed fake account claiming it too, and some other bits and bobs along the way. All I remember was 2017 onwards of people going to the mine shaft, not beforehand. But, you know, if anyone else has had experiences or seen weird comments, feel free to add on. There's the thing, the only problem is with the Kenny Veach case, you will get a younger audience that does come along every now and then. And as you know, sometimes younger audiences can be very creative and imaginative. Not all, I'm not saying everyone is, but some can be and end up telling a story time. And it's trying to sieve through the BS, right? What else have we got? Sacha saying, somebody was active in Kenny's Facebook account past week and deleted a curious comment I commented about in older video from Warlike Raf since my comment here got blocked. Yeah, so Sacha, have you say your name? YouTube is terrible for comments at the moment. YouTube, out of my control, keep I don't know, removing people's comments or hiding them. I've tried going into the held for review section, they're not there. I don't know where they are. Unfortunately, I always receive the blame from other people. Probably not this time, but other times. And it's like, you know, what am I supposed to do when I'm not in control of it, right? YouTube. Typical YouTube. Censoring this and that, but perfectly okay in allowing people to shake the melons about or the bananas and I don't know, all kinds of weird dodgy stuff on YouTube, right? And the creepy stuff and whatever. Oh, that's fine, but no, not a normal comment saying thank you for this video, well done. No, that gets censored. Typical YouTube. What's the responses then? Soon says, what was the comment? On November 22nd, I showed a missed call from Kenny's Messenger account. I told Detective Downing and he asked me to send a URL and he would Zubiana. Okay, contact me again, please. Right. So Sacha says somebody was active on Kenny's Facebook account the past week and deleted a curious comment. So Sacha, can you explain a bit clearer? Are you saying that somebody was logged in on Kenny's Facebook account? Or are you saying that another user left a comment on one of Kenny's Facebook posts? Which way round do you mean? Feel free to elaborate. And that's it for the comments there. So we've catched up. So all in all, just wanted to piece this all together in one video because it follows a certain theme of material, third-party material, screenshots like that. Once again, phone numbers that did appear, which were acknowledged by Susan Veach, okay to put out there. Just don't be calling those phone numbers, okay? No, it's not necessary, but that aside, okay, hopefully you found the video somewhat interesting. Feel free to like and share if you want to, and we'll see what happens next time. There's still things to continue on with and other videos to do, some more formal than others, and maybe some a bit more easier to follow along, depending, right? I do understand at times jumping on in to certain parts of the case might seem a bit confusing. I mean, sometimes for me, it can be confusing as well, just because I've not covered it for a while. Taking mine, I did Dylan rounds for, nearly 2 years straight, so switching and changing can be tough to do, but I'm trying to focus as much as possible with what needs to be covered right now, and I just want to get it all out there as soon as possible, okay? So Thanks for watching. Appreciate people's patience. Shout out to any super chats from the night before, if there were any. I can't remember, but maybe Cleo in the comments and Skeptical. But yeah, I do appreciate that. Next video that comes out probably could be the official police report of Kenny. Read through that. And then after that could be another standalone video, but a much shorter one, depending if there's any key points that need to be mentioned. You know, if there's some key individuals out there that feel that maybe some key points that are not stressed enough or acknowledged enough, don't worry, I'll try and get round to them eventually. We do like an overview of videos, and then we can always work our way back to acknowledge the smaller details and the very important points made. I can also do short videos on YouTube here and there too, the actual YouTube short section, which does attract a different audience, a broader, wider range, so people can be informed that way. It's just trying to juggle it about, but you know, in an appropriate way. So still things to come. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, good night for now.